Hello, my name is Morten Ihorn. I'm an associate professor at DIS, Danish Institute for Study Abroad, in Copenhagen, where I teach 4 different film courses, among them a course called Scandinavian Movies and Cinema, where the focus is on contemporary Scandinavian film. I'm looking very much forward to have a discussion with you about this film that you're going to watch today, and I'm looking forward to meet with you after the screening of the film or after you have seen it yourself on a streaming platform. The film that I've chosen for today is a film called Force Majeure. It's a Swedish film that was released in 2014 in the Scandinavian countries, and it is made by the director Ruben Östlund. Ruben Östlund is probably the most recognized Scandinavian director these years, the most prize-winning director. The biggest breakthrough to the whole world came with the film that he made in 2017 called The Square, where he takes the temperature on the modern art world. The film was nominated for an Oscar in the category Best Foreign Film, didn't win though, but then it won actually the most prestigious art house film prize you can win in the world, the Golden Palm at Cannes in France. The film I have chosen is the film that he made before that in 2014, Force Majeure, where he takes the temperature on the modern core family in Scandinavia, or perhaps in what we could call the Western world in general. Ruben Östlund is famous for taking up issues, themes, elements, burning issues that are urgent for the modern Western person in general, and also sometimes approach it in a controversial way, but also a very way where it's up to us to analyze. I will get back to that. So, Force Majeure is a story about a classical Swedish family, father, mother, and 2 children who are on ski vacation in France. And already on their first day on the vacation, they are sitting on the terrace enjoying a lunch, and then suddenly an avalanche is coming and everybody panics, of course. It turns out that the avalanche is nothing. It's not really serious. It was just something that is never explained. But the problem is that the few moments where everybody panicked and everybody was afraid that it was serious, the father of the family that we are following is more occupied by saving himself instead of taking care of his family. And that behavior leads to a conflict in the family between the husband and the wife, and that conflict becomes the center point of the rest of the film. So that is what the film is about in general. And you can say that before you watch the film, I want to say a little bit about Ruben Östlund's style that he's also using here. Because what you will see is that he prefer often to have what I in general would characterize as a sociological view, or you could also perhaps call it anthropological view on his characters, that he often just puts the camera up there, is often fixed for very long, and then he just lets the scene evolve in front of us, where you feel that he doesn't really want to take sides. He wants to leave it up to us to think what we should think about this conflict. He's more just presenting it to us. You could also call it, with a more academic word, that is almost like phenomenological, his approach, that he's just an observer who finds it interesting how these conflicts can arise for a modern person, and that is very much his approach, and that is also what makes his film so interesting to analyze together with other people, because sometimes you can get the idea that people have seen different movies because they they analyze and interpret the situations so differently. So that is also what makes him interesting, and of course also can provoke some. But I'm looking forward to see what you say about this method. Um, Perhaps I could also briefly mention that one of the recurring themes in Ruben Östlund's films that we also have here is, should we call, what we could call modern man's relation to his or her cell phone. As you could hear from my very brief plot synopsis, this film is a very central element in this film is also how the father is more occupied with his cell phone than his family. In the film that Ruben Östlund made just before Force Majeure, he focused on how a group of kids were stealing cell phones from other group of kids in modern Sweden, and made a social analysis about that. And actually also the film that I have already mentioned, that was his big breakthrough as an international director, The Square. Here the whole starting point for the conflict is also that our main protagonist, a curator of a modern art museum in Stockholm, that his cell phone is being stolen in the street by what you could call trickery theft. So that is of course also where an example of how Ruben Östlund loves to take the temperature on what is most important to modern human beings in the Western world, and what happens to us when we are forced to do something else out of what has become our common behavior. Okay, that was my brief introduction. I hope you will find the film interesting, and I'm looking very much forward to talk about it with you soon. See you soon. Bye.